morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the first ever GIIS CareerExplore Fair 2025. I'm Christy.
And I'm Mihika, and we will be your MCs for today's exciting event.
We are absolutely delighted to have you with us for what promises to be a dynamic, engaging, and truly inspiring experience.
Today is all about gaining early exposure to diverse career pathways, learning from industry experts, and understanding the skills required to thrive in a rapidly evolving world of work.
The Career Explore Fair is part of a larger initiative launched under our Parent Engagement Program. It is guided by the Career Counseling and University Guidance Framework, which helps students connect with professionals across multiple industries well before making critical subject and career decisions.
The goal is to provide meaningful insight into future opportunities, helping students explore possibilities, refine their interests, and shape long term aspirations.
To begin the day, I now invite our Senior Principal of GIIS SMART Campus, Ms. Melissa Maria, to deliver the welcome address.
I believe it's a very meaningful initiative that has happened, and I know that children will start coming in and parents will come in. So I had prepared a speech, which I don't think I will deliver now, but what I will do is I will sincerely, genuinely thank the parents because, like you heard the MC say, this is our first initiative to bring parents like you together to leverage on the expertise that you have. And we are of the strong belief that parents are a very important stakeholder. Recently, we were having a discussion how there is a complete change in what parents want for their children. There was a time when we were growing up when parents were kept at an arm's length. But parents want to be partners in their children's growing up. And that is what GIIS is all about. We firmly believe that parents are partners in the process of learning. And this is one example where we are bringing in your expertise for our students to leverage on what you have experienced at industry life, so that they are able to speak to you, understand from you. What gives me great pride is that this is our inaugural initiative. We have parent engagement programs. We have under our banner of Parent as Partners program. But to look at careers, this has been our first initiative, and I am happy to be standing here to be launching it and, having you all present here. So thank you very much. There's a team that has worked dedicatedly to make this happen. And I want to put on record Anubhav's, push. Anubhav is our global leader for under the Career Counseling and University Guidance Framework. We have Seema, who's our lead counselor, who's made this happen. She's been liaising with all of you. We also have our chairman here, who believes very firmly that parents are a very important stakeholder, and therefore he's here to support this program. Thank you, Mr. Vasu. You'll be doing the keynote address, and to all our parents for being here this morning to make this a successful launch. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to our children listening to the panelists and attending the booths.
Thank you, ma'am, for that warm and inspiring address. May I request you to kindly take your seat, ma'am?
We now invite on stage Mr. Atul Tamurnikar, co-founder and chairman of Global Schools Group, to share a few words. So, please.
Good morning, dear parents, dignitaries, students and teachers. A very warm welcome to all of you. And what we do see nowadays is the amazing contributions of teachers and students and how well they are doing, particularly in the area of exams. I know some exams are still going in. We also look at various university placements. So I'm going to talk about today, of course, we are looking at the Global Career Explore programs, and we would like to share a few things about it. But like I said, just before we begin, this is an exam season, and really, I want to thank everyone who has been contributing to the board results. We've just had some announcements, and I just want to take this opportunity to talk about it. That, from all the way from Japan to UAE, the GHG students have delivered a stellar result in CBSE and ICSE. In the board exams that were conducted for 2025, GHG salutes and congratulates some of these students who have been extraordinarily successful. From our GIIS Whitefield campus, Dhruv Srikar from grade 12 scored 99% aggregate in the CBSE curriculum. From GIIS Noida, we had Chitraksh Gupta, from grade 10 scored 99%. From a Witty Malad School in Mumbai, Rishi Krish from grade 10 scored 99% in the ICSE curriculum. From GIIS Pongal, right here, we had Diksha Vasant Kumar from grade 10. She scored 98.8%. In CBSE, in the Glendale Academy in Hyderabad, we had Anokhi Roy from grade 12, scored 98.8% in the CBSE curriculum. From the GIIS Bangalore Whitefield campus, we had Hannah Thes from the grade 10 getting 98.4%. Why I'm sharing this is very important, and I'll come to this. From our GIIS Pune campus in Hadapsar, we had the student Kunjal Kothari from grade 10, 98.33%. From our another Pune campus in Balewadi campus, we had Kriti Heda, scored 98.2%. And from GIIS Tokyo, we had Sukrati Jain with 98.2%. Isn't that something very interesting? From our Witty Mumbai campus, Vishwa Mitesh Chitalia, grade 10, 98.2%. From our another Witty campus, we had, from another Witty campus, we had, from GIIS Pongal campus, we had Anushka Tripathi scoring 98%. And the list goes on. Sugne Hasora from GIIS Ahmedabad, 98%. From Ananya Mahesh from Glendale, Hyderabad, 98%. And I'm so happy because it's not just a first year or second year, but consistently it's happening. From GIIS Pune, Arya Deshpande, 98%. Isha Agarwal from GIIS Pune, 98%. Neeral Bakliwal from GIIS Pune, 98%. Right? So these students are not really the school toppers, but they have scored 98% and above. And this is actually not just an individual performance or some random success. It's first for any CBSE school, for example. A CBSE board has invited Dhruv to join our CBSE Leadership Podcast and share his journey, how he got to 99%. It's not just that a few individuals have done well. The entire cohort performance has also done exceptionally well. Of the 30 plus schools that we have in our portfolio of offering CBSE and ICSE, if you look at the entire cohort average, 3 of our campuses, 3 of our entire schools, GIIS Japan and 2 others, have had an average cohort of 90% and above, which means if you add up all the scores scored by every student of that campus, that average is 90% and above for GIIS Japan and 2 other campuses. So 3 of our campuses are now ranked among the top 10 worldwide CBSE rankings and ICSE rankings. And this is among the 30,000 odd schools we have. And for all other campuses, their cohort averages also have reached 84%. Just to give you a context with Cambridge, if you have 90% and above, you are in the top 5 in British schools, okay? top 5 ranks in British schools. And this is for the whole cohort. And I'm intermingling the grade 10 and grade 12 results. So I think by no means, even the cohort averages of all campuses are amazingly very high. And so to all our teachers who are the stars today, they have ensured that not just a few students do well, but the entire cohort does well. So I congratulate each and every student who has done exceptionally well for yourself and for your parents in this outstanding performance. Let's actually give a big round of applause to all our teachers and students for that. It also reflects a pedigree of our academic quality and is a testament to the heavily personalized efforts put in by our teaching communities. Our student improvement programs, through the effective use of 7S statistical analysis model, have ensured that the students are given focused attention for their self-development. On behalf of the Global Schools Foundation, I'm delighted to announce the GSF President's Platinum Awards and shall be bestowed upon all grade 10 students who have scored 95% and above in aggregate. The award shall carry a cash prize of up to USD $2,000. Students who have scored 98% and above shall receive a cash prize of USD 2,000, and those who have scored between 95% and 97.99 shall receive a cash prize of USD 1,000. Also, we are pleased to announce the GSF Global Citizen Scholarships in appreciation of the outstanding performers from the 10th grade. Those who have scored 98% and above in aggregate shall receive a scholarship of equivalent to 100% of their fees, and those who have scored between 95% and 97.99 in aggregate shall receive a scholarship of up to 75% of the fees. And this is going to be offered to each and every student across all our GIC schools. So all the scholarship nominees and awardees shall receive information and details in the next coming weeks. On the university front, as is the case each year, GSG students have continued to secure offers from the most prominent universities, including Oxford, Cambridge, NUS, Berkeley, UCLA, IIT as well, and many of the top 100 QS rank universities. These excellent placements have been mainly due to the superb guidance given by our career counseling and university guidance teams, and through the GIIS fairs, which are conducted annually in conjunction with over 150 universities each year. In addition to the existing GSG Explore Fair, we are now pleased to announce the new GSG CareerExplore Forums, which is where we are today. So this CareerExplore Forum is going to allow each and every student and parent to hear from the experts on the career options in various industries, and then make crucial academic decisions to prepare for these career options. The GSG CareerExplore Forum is now an integral part of the career counseling and university guidance process, and to ensure every student can discover their potential and the right fit between their aspirations and the courses and universities. And what is most interesting is that GSG parent communities have joined us as an essential stakeholders in this process and offered to be pioneer speakers today to give their career insights and share their real-life experiences. So we have experts from artificial intelligence to biomedicine and many more. And as you can see, there are many sections which have been created here. And you can really walk around and intermingle and share their experiences and your experiences and aspirations. And I'm sure you will learn a lot more about all other careers apart from the standard SOP of engineering, law, medicine, etc., or commerce. So you're going to learn a lot more about new careers that are emerging. So to our parents who are participating here today and who are speaking, thank you so much for joining us. And we thank you for being immensely gracious in this and very thoughtful partners in shaping our student careers going forward. I hope similar participation will continue from our parents in future time to come. So your presence today reaffirms the collective shared values that bind our school communities to nurture truly global citizens. With this, I declare the GSG CareerExplore Forum open. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring address.
Up next, we have a keynote address. Please join us in welcoming Mr. Vasudevan Rajagopalan. Mr. Vasudevan is the HR head of Tata Consultancy Services, Asia Pacific, overseeing HR operations across 12 countries and more than 17,000 employees, with responsibilities spanning talent acquisition, performance management, compliance, and diversity.
A very good morning to all of you who are assembled here. Respected Chairperson, Mr. Atul, respected Principal, Melissa ma'am, members of the faculty team which is also here, and also parents and students. Happy to be part of this event. There are several events that you participate through the week and month, but this is something which is very special for different reasons. One, we all came from this system. We were all through our schools, college, universities, and we ended up in our professional journeys. But I think we have not forgotten our roots. I think we all came from this system. And if there is a way we can contribute to the system in any form, we are absolutely honored to do that. And that's something which keeps us always reminding ourselves that where we started our journey and where we are today, we owe this all to our teachers. We owe this to the schools and the institutions that we came from. And that's something which is always there in our thought. And that's something which is making me feel happy also to be part of this forum. And also on another note, I have walked around this campus for the last 2.5 years. When we moved into Singapore about September 2022, we were looking for admissions for our children, and this was definitely a place where we found a lot of kind of comfort in the choice that we were making. And imagine when families relocate from one country to the other country, education and children and the way they will settle down is something which comes definitely in our minds. And this is something which we found home. And we are very, very thankful for the school for being a supportive kind of system for making sure that our children also settle well and doing well in this institution. Coming to the topic, I think I also want to compliment Anubha ma'am and Seema ma'am for taking this initiative, and of course, the support from the entire kind of fraternity within the school and the GSF to ensure that we have this initiative started. I can definitely understand whether it is a student or a parent as to what will go in their minds when they start talking about career, starting from maybe 7th standard, 8th standard and onwards, to look at how they would kind of help children choose their preferred career streams going forward. And that's something which forums and interactions like this will always be helpful. And thanks for taking the lead and initiative. I think I would say the journey around the world starts with a single step. It means that you have taken the step forward. And I'm sure there are more meaningful ways in which this engagement and interactions can also take shape. I think I take the lead from what Chairperson was also talking about, Mr. Atul. When we were in the education, the choices were almost like binary. I would not even say it's beyond binary. It was binary that you do, for example, I'm leaving the medicine and all of them because we don't kind of look at them as from the common parlance of that being a choice. You either go into a commerce stream or you go into an engineering stream. I think these are the binary kind of options that we have. And today that binary options has completely kind of opened up into a lot more of career opportunities. I think I remember seeing one chart, which I don't know if I put all of them together, there are at least more than 300, 400 choices that you have in terms of what you can do once you kind of come out of your schooling kind of system. So that's something which makes us all think how dynamic those choices are and what kind of goes into making those choices. But in a way, if you look at it, choices are always good because that's something which leads us to look at what we are good at. For example, I did my science stream until my 12th standard. And at that time, for me to go and tell my parents that I'm interested in doing sociology and psychology was something which was not accepted at that point of time. And I think I still, in some form, wanted to keenly pursue it for a purpose, and then that lead to something else, and that kind of shaped my career going forward. But the point I wanted to just still say that is the options are many compared to what it was in the past, and that's a great step forward because that's something which gives you much more options for you to choose from. And when there are much more options to choose from, forums like this becomes very important because that's where I want to come back to say that all of us know at some level on the information, but coming to interactions like this, meeting with people, getting to hear from people in a forum where you are comfortable, because it is not about you looking at YouTube. You're hearing to somebody who's a parent, you're hearing to somebody who's coming from the industry, who's close to you. You have a reference point for you to look at what career options you should take. Then that becomes much, much more easy and kind of things easier for you to make your choice. I'd only request, if I can, please make sure that some of these interactions also happens at the premises of the corporates. And for example, I'll be very happy to even host students and parents if it is required, even in our own facilities, to make this interaction, because seeing is something which also will make them even much more closer to looking at what kind of choices that they can make as well. And we are happy to kind of organize these forums. And I'll come to this AI, because there was something which was also kind of being spoken about as what is going to be this particular technology doing. I just want to, before I go there, I just want to say, irrespective of whatever choice that you're going to take from your career perspective, make technology as your primary skill that you want to kind of equip yourselves with. Because today, if you're in finance, I'm sure people who are going to speak to you as experts will tell you that finance and technology is today called as fintech. And tomorrow, healthcare and technology is something which is making a lot of inroads into things which are going to, whether it is a marketing career or any of those accounting or any of the careers that you choose, there is always a role which technology plays in that. Please make sure that technology becomes your primer. And on top of that primer, you can make sure that whatever the choices that you can embed further that also with that. And coming back to AI, I always will say technology is part of human evolution. And in fact, technology was created by human beings. I'm sure even AI as a technology, it's almost like 1960s, when 1950s and 60s is where it evolved. And it is not new to us. Maybe with the evolution of other things which are ecosystems, infrastructure, and all the other things that comes along, well, it makes it much more easier for adapting it into the enterprises and also into the lifestyles. But the technology itself is there, and technology was created by people. So it can't be like, you can't think like technology was something which is going to take away something as jobs away or something like that. I'll just give you a simple analogy for you to kind of look at it. 150 years before, when people had to travel from one distance to the other distance, they used to carry the luggages with them. Or if it was really long distances, maybe they used mules or whatever sources to kind of carry things from one place to the other place. And a small technology called wheel. Just imagine that entire change which happened just because you could add a wheel to that luggage and you could carry around things like that. And imagine those times when you traveled, there were porters who used to help you in the luggages, etc. You can consider them, these porters' jobs were all taken away. But ask this question, the porters themselves were carrying loads of whatever luggages with them, and it is not something which is an easy task that they were doing. Actually, technology enhanced their lifestyles. It is not that the porters as a community just vanished. They maybe evolved into something better than what they were doing before. By design, what they were doing was not supposed to be meant to be done by them. Technology helped them to move progress further. And I'll just give you a closer home example from my own organization. I personally feel even today what AI is meant to kind of transform and make changes are all things that people don't like doing. I think people don't talk about it, and I'm sure some of the colleagues who represent the industry will know about it. 23 years now in TCS, I can tell you many meetings that you do with our employees, you know what you will commonly hear? I don't want to do tasks which are customer service, or I have to call people, I have to kind of inform them on what is the set of things that are there for me to query their solutions. People were not very happy to do that. People were not very happy to do the testing task, meaning doing automation, scripts. I think people were talking about things, they want to do development, and if you get to development, they want to do something better. I want to get into data, I want to get into AI. So always human mind is looking for progress and development, and this is a technology which is actually kind of taking away jobs from the lower end to help you to focus on something which is higher. Maybe at this time we are more looking at, we don't have that clarity on what is that one level higher, and maybe that is where we are all kind of starting off with to think, what will this lead to? But I think I can always just give you that confidence that any of the technology that we have evolved ourselves to today has not removed anything as jobs or removed anything as negative into that entire ecosystem. It only enhanced the life and the quality of life that we have always enjoyed. You can relate this to any of your examples as well. And that's also personally what I believe. Life will get transformed, careers will get transformed, education systems will get transformed. the way learning will get transformed, a lot of these will happen as the natural choice because this technology is coming in. But please also kind of always relate it to as all this is only going to leading us to progress and development and not something which is going to take us behind in terms of some of the negative effects that we associate with that. So that's something which I personally believe is what is the way in which we need to approach this technology. Learn, make it better, integrate it into any career streams and choices that you're looking for, and make sure that how you can also enhance your profile along with the opportunities that comes along in this side. So with that, I really look forward to the panel discussion. I really hopefully also will spend some time to also be in the booths when the students are interacting with the professionals as well. And I'm very happy to also be around to see if there are any questions that I can take after the sessions as well. I again sincerely wish the management and all the teachers and the people who have enabled this interaction, both with the students and the parents, to get a wider perspective of things which are options in front of them. A really, really a useful initiative, and I'm sure it's going to be gaining strength to strength for it to be something which is going to take a lot of pride in terms of where it all started. So thank you all once again, and thanks for the invite, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for that thought provoking session. AI truly is reshaping the future of work and redefining career possibilities. I would now like to invite Ms. Melissa ma'am to give a token of appreciation to our guest, Mr. Vasudevan.
We now move on to our panel discussion featuring distinguished leaders from various industries who will share their perspectives on how the world of work is evolving. Let's welcome our panelists on stage. Mr. Shailendra Kumar Jariwala from Canon Medical Systems Corporation, Mr. Jim Cherian from A-Star, Mr. Ashish Kumar from Dell Technologies, and Dr. Ali Gharamani from the National University of Singapore.
And now, to moderate the session, we welcome Mr. Anubhav Seth, Head of Career Counseling and Guidance for Global Schools Group Campuses. Sir, please join the panelists on stage.
So a very good morning to all of you, and as already communicated by our chairman, Atul sir and Melissa ma'am, a heartfelt thank you to all of you who are here, all the panelists and all the experts who will be at the booth, and specifically the parents for being here on a Saturday morning. But I think this is a super important initiative, and I'm not saying this because we are doing it. Um, but if you take a step back and realize that most of our efforts, and when I say most of our efforts, I'm including the school and the parents and everyone, is geared up towards objective outcomes. We focus only on marks, we focus only on university selections, but in that process, we forget something which is very important. Finding something meaningful in which you will enjoy doing that for the rest of your career, or at least for the short term, which is, let's say, next 5-6 years when you graduate. So finding the right fit career is essentially the most important step that you will take in your entire journey, entire career journey. And if you are able to align your career option with your inherent skill sets and something which you are really, really interested in, the journey becomes easier. It becomes interesting, you get excited every day, and it makes you to do things which will add value to the entire world and obviously give you a lot of impetus in your career. So having the right fit career option is very, very important. And that is the reason we came up with this initiative of exploring the career option from the experts, understanding the world of work. So you study a lot of things. And if you look at, and if you speak to parents and students in grade 8, 9, and 10, they will think in terms of subjects, that what subject to study. But I would request and recommend take a step back, think in terms of what is the work that you want to do, and then relate it back to the subjects that are required to do that work. That will help you to identify your real skills and something which you would really, really like to work. So with this, let's start off with the panel discussion. And in this panel discussion, we aim to understand the impact of AI on career landscape, because whenever we interact with parents and students, there is a lot of concern that which courses to take up, which careers to take up, and how it is getting impacted. And I really, really agree with what Mr. Vasudevan just said, that technology is always going to make us stronger. The careers will evolve, but at the same time, technology is a partner. So the idea is to understand that how it impacts your field as an expert, and for the parents also to understand that how each and every career is evolving. So with this, I will start the panel discussion, and we'll follow a very simple format. We'll first introduce each and every panelist. We'll take 5 minutes for the introduction, and then we will get into the discussion phase where there are certain questions that I would want you to really share your expert opinion on. So let's start off with the introductions.
Hi, very good morning. So my name is Shailendra, as you all must have known. I belong to the healthcare industry. I have 30 years of experience of healthcare. Interesting part is all these things, what I'm going to talk to you about is all on my LinkedIn profile. What I'm going to talk to you about is things which are not on my LinkedIn profile, which are restricted and not supposed to be told. This is what it is. I started my career way as an engineer. I was very innovative to understand what is happening on the other side of the world, that is on the healthcare. To my knowledge, I had finished around 300 surgeries using robotic arms as the backbone, right? Being an engineer, I was allowed to do surgeries on a live case just because I wanted to understand what does it take for saving human life. So important point is, how well am I trying to take this innovation, put into an option where I can save human lives, right? All of us here are trying to achieve something. All of us are trying to attain something and make innovation as a key point. But if you understand that the work which you do has an impact, right? The impact is where you start analyzing things. For me, the impact was something which has happened into your own lives. How many of us have gone to your own parents and saw how they are in their own ways, right? For example, there was a serious cancer situation at my location. How did we make sure that these cancers don't exist? How does a stroke patient get to a hospital and can be saved, right? How can you make sure that we have proper innovations into healthcare, right? So that's where the innovation started. That's where my journey in the healthcare started. 30 years in the industry, going strong, every day getting up in the morning, making sure no one dies on your watch is the focus, right? And when I speak to you, I have goosebumps because last night, while I was going to bed, I was making sure all 162 countries to which I work with, there is no one dying on my watch. That is the kind of impact you go back with, right? Your innovations is helping making sure that someone is alive just because of your innovations. If you are in the field of healthcare, if you are in the field of engineering, if you're in the field of innovations, right? This is what you need to think before you go back to bed. It's the satisfaction level that you get after you do some surgeries, after you come back on the ground. If I have 1 more minute, I can just give you a quick example of what the career looks like after doing this. So a lot of people, I'm at that booth. If someone wants to talk about it, you can go on that booth. There is a QR code. You can look into it and you can find out my complete entire journey of my LinkedIn profile. What I normally do is I bridge the gap between technology and healthcare innovations, make sure that whatever we develop has an impact in the human life, right? That's the passion I have. So while I was in the same field like all of us are right now, trying to identify a career, I picked up the challenge on myself is to innovate, like what Mr. Vasudevan said, but in which field and what impacts you the most, right, is what I picked out. I said, hey, why don't I try to save more life? Why don't I make sure that no one goes home unhealthy, right? So that's one part. Second point is, when we came to Singapore, or when I visit any leading countries, important thing is we talk about healthcare, but we don't know what in healthcare are we trying to innovate, right? So a couple of questions which were posted to me about healthcare was all about how to make sure that you are trying to save human life. For example, if you have a stroke right now, no one has it, but if someone has a stroke anywhere in this field, do you know how much time it takes for a person to reach to the hospital and go and take surgery done? Anyone? You know what is a stroke? Does anyone know what's a stroke? Right? What's a stroke? A cardiac attack or a brain impact? You know how much time it takes? It takes almost 4 hours before the patient is brought to the surgery table and done a surgery. 4 hours is enough for you, for your brain to get salvaged. 4 hours. It's a crazy amount of work. So what we did is, how can we reduce this time? How can we make sure that these 4 hours are golden hours? First hour is a golden hour, like what we all speak about it. Now, where does the innovation comes in? Innovation comes in is to make sure that these 4 hours could be reduced in minutes or seconds. Because of innovations, now the entire journey of a patient having a stroke, reaching the hospital, going to the surgery table takes almost 3 minutes. Are we saving lives? Are we saving humans? Are we doing innovations? That is where my subject lies. So we will be talking more about it in a couple of minutes. So if you get excited on talking and understanding where and what it is, more than happy to talk about it. Right from engineering to medical science is a big leap of faith, and how it all got evolved is what we are going to talk about in the panel discussions. So thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Jim. My profile is a bit different from the first speaker, right? So I grew up in India, in a small state called Kerala, in the south of India, in a very small town of over a few thousands of people, right? I studied in an English medium school as an ICSE student. I was a good student, but my question when I was doing my 10th, right? I got good marks in all my subjects. I loved all my subjects. I had history, geography, economics, maths, science, biology. I like all subjects. What do I choose? I have to make a choice, right, if I go forward. And then I chose the science option and had the science and biology, math had the possibilities. But I also like arts. What do I do? So eventually I chose engineering as a career, and I'm an engineer. So that's where I stand now. But looking backward, if I had taken a different choice, I think I may have succeeded in a different way. Anyway, to introduce myself, I'm Jim Cherian from A-STAR. A-STAR is Singapore's government research agency. We do research for Singapore's ecosystem, and we have many institutes called research institutes. I think around 20 research institutes under the umbrella of A-STAR. So some of the institutes are working on the biomedical, bio side of the research, including health sciences, as well as the other side is looking into the science engineering. So I'm from the engineering side, and there is an institute called ARTC. We are mostly into manufacturing, supporting the manufacturing ecosystem of Singapore, how to help local companies grow, as well as large companies who are based in Singapore grow better to contribute to Singapore's economy. That's our mandate. Now, what am I doing at A-STAR? So look, going back to where I started, right? From a student in Kerala. So I decided to do engineering. I did electronics engineering. So I was an electronics engineer. Then while I was doing electronics engineer, I always have this confusion, right? Should I be really focusing on designing circuits, going into the semiconductor sector, or do something else? I also loved software. So I had a lot of friends who were studying computer engineering. So I used to hang out with them. And so I eventually, by the time I finished my undergraduate in engineering, I decided I have to do something between electronics and computer science, right? So I chose the field called embedded systems, right? So embedded systems are like your smartphones or your TV or your alarm, maybe a smart alarm. a smart fridge. All of these are embedded systems. They have software inside it. There's hardware and software embedded inside, right? So I worked on embedded systems as an engineer in Wipro. It's an IT company in India for about 10 years, right? And I did many roles there. I started as a software engineer, although my background is electronics. And then I started doing a little bit of so-called enterprise software for to help large companies run. But within a few months I realized that is not my calling. So I was really looking to work closer to hardware, and I found opportunity within Wipro. It's a large company. As a fresh engineer, I could find ways by networking with people, identifying the right opinion, opportunities, and talking to people, voicing your opinion. So the reason why I wanted to say is because there can be many paths in front of you, but you have a certain passion, and you choose among the best alternatives you have, and you make your way. The important thing is you should try for different possibilities, and things will happen. So then I worked as an engineer in Wipro. I did software for cars. I'm an electronics engineer doing software for cars. So cars that, I think I'm proud to say I've done software that runs in millions of cars running globally. I was working with many different car manufacturers as their suppliers. So I did, 20 years ago, I started doing systems like your Bluetooth, hands-free call connectivity kind of system. So you walk in with your phone into your car, and you can make a call hands-free, right? So back then, 20 years back, it was a very premium feature. So you had to pay lots of money to get that feature in your car. So that was the kind of systems I worked. Then I worked on navigation systems, like how you use Google Maps for, very easy. But back then, there was no Google Maps. Google itself was a young company, right? So we were doing maps for cars, which again, a premium feature. You had to pay a lot of money to get those kind of features. So basically 10 years, I did software for cars. After that, what did I do? I realized, okay, just developing software, just doing engineering is getting a bit boring. That's when one of my colleagues in my company told me they are working on a secret project, not so secret, but a small group of people working on something known as machine learning. So this was in about 13, 14 years back. So they created a system called Buddy. Now everybody have ChatGPT, Siri, all kinds of AI systems, right? So back then, 12, 13 years back, they were doing a prototype of that back in India. So that got inspired me. I have to do something more than just the routine work I'm doing. I have to do more. So then I looked up about machine learning. It was really taught only in some of the top universities in the world at that point of time. It required a lot of fundamental mathematical knowledge. I realized the background I have is not enough. Then I decided, okay, I have to quit what I'm doing now, right? So I decided to quit my IT job. At that point of time, I was managing about 30 engineers, a very well-cushioned job. I decided to do a PhD. And then I was looking for opportunities. That's how I came to Singapore, right? In between, during my 10 years as an engineer, I traveled around the world. I did lots of kind of projects, traveled around Europe especially, and many places, worked with many cultures. But I felt something was missing. So that brought me to science. So I decided to do my PhD. I did my PhD in NTU in Singapore for about 4 years. And my PhD was in a different field. I was doing PhD with phones, but with data coming from phones, like sensors in the phones, that can give you data that can be used to derive something meaningful. So what was called as machine learning, using data from your smartphones, right? So called crowd sensing. How can you get data from many different phones and to help people who drive cars make intelligent decisions? So this was in collaboration with a company called BMW who make cars. So it was applied research for BMW sitting in Singapore. Then after my PhD, I still worked in NTU for a few years. So I switched again, a new topic. Again, related to cars and software, but with machine learning and with my new scientific and math background. So I decided to work on self-driving cars. So Singapore is at the forefront of self-driving cars. So we had the first ever urban deployment of self-driving cars in Singapore. First robotaxi in the world in Singapore. many years ago, right? So those who have seen that, we all can be proud of that, right? So I was helping regulate the behavior of self-driving cars deployed in Singapore, doing simulations and so on. And a self-driving car is like a robot running on the road, but it can be a dangerous robot, right? It can, if it's not controlled, if it's not safe, it can cause a lot of harm. Even human drivers can cause a lot of harm, right? So self-driving cars can be regulated. How to define the behavior of the car in such a way that it works, it drives safely. So this was my research for about 3 years. After that, I decided to move on again because the opportunity for self-driving cars in Singapore became lesser, and a new path opened for me in A-STAR, which is Singapore's government research agency in robotics. So right now, I'm a robotics engineer, but not just an engineer. My title is a principal scientist because I did my PhD. So anybody who has a PhD in A-STAR is typically called as a scientist. But I'm an engineer at heart with scientist as a label, but doing a techno-manager role. So I lead a team of scientists and engineers who develop robotic systems. What we do, we don't make robots. We take existing robots, combine this with other things, other sensors, other devices, and put them together for a meaningful application. So the primary focus of my institute is to help in manufacturing. How can factories, warehouses do manufacturing better, faster, more efficiently? And so this is what I do as a day job, making robotic systems that are efficient and fast. So I don't know if I bored you with my story, but the point I wanted to make is there are many choices in front of you, right? And the choice that you make will define where you are. But just because you are in one position now doesn't mean that you need to be there. You can go somewhere else as well. So you can make changes, you can make choices, but you can stay where you are and go deeper and deeper. Many people do that, and they are excellent, they are very successful in that. So where I have been deeper is computing. So different kinds of computing for different applications. So the last thing I want to say is because I mentioned computing, right? Computing started from the era of mainframes, old big computers, to personal computers, microcomputers, then to laptops, then to smartphones, wearables, tablets. Now the next era of computing is what I'm working on, robotics. Computers with hands actuators that can also do things, not just think, and right? So this is where I am. But what would I do maybe 10 years, 20 years later? I don't know. If I'm around, if I retire, I may go back to what I like. What I like the most is history. If I look back, if I had made a choice when I was in 10th to pursue arts, I may have become a history professor. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jim. I think there's a lot of takeaway from your story, and from someone who liked all the subjects to moving on to do a lot of things and then robotics. I think this is all about exploration, and what essentially we are trying to do is to help you explore all these options while you are in school, so that it took a while for you to figure out that this is what I want to do. And what we are trying to do is to help you speed up that journey. When you do all these exploration activities in school, you will be closer to what you really, really want to do. And one very important point is that the interest and what you want to do will always change. But it's important to have clarity of at least for the next 5-10 years that what you want to do, at least for next 2-3 years that you want to do. And if you are in grade 8, 9, and 10, this is the right time. Experiment, explore, and try as many fields as possible. And I would also want to add one very interesting anecdote. Any of you who follows tennis, you would have known about Rafael Nadal and a lot of other players. And then there are other sports like golf and all. So there are many great personalities. So if you look at the top tennis players, so there was a research study about all the tennis players and the great golf players like Tiger Woods and all. And they compared the career trajectory of all the top players. And they realized that some of the best sports person who are there in tennis had actually explored a whole lot of other sports while they were learning and while they were a child and while they were exploring all these fields. So when you explore all these fields, you learn a lot. There are a lot of skills that you gain, and then eventually you reach your actual interest and you are able to apply. So I think that is very, very important. And the overall range of your exploration is important. So with this, I think this is a very good takeaway. And all of you should focus on that exploration journey. So with this, I would request the other panelists to introduce.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Ali Garmani. I'm an assistant professor in the College of Design and Engineering, National University of Singapore. Just a little background for myself. I'm from Iran. How many of you know where the country is? Very good. We are in Middle East, a lot of things going on, a lot of news from that area. So a little bit of my educational background. I started kind of school like everyone else, like mentioned here. And then at the very beginning, I was super dissatisfied with the way education system works. You have to memorize things, not really focus on the critical thinking, which I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about a lot during the panel. And then throughout high school, my performance was not really all that great. Even though I was in a very selected school, you need to go through a lot of exams to get in there, but I didn't really like it. And basically in Iran, we have a national exam for entrance to university. Everyone take it in 1/2 day, and your entire future life depends on 4 hours of exam. That every single question that you answer can put you in the very top university or basically not being able to enter the university. I wasn't doing all that great, but then I talked to a consultant in my school and said, you know what, you're probably not gonna get accepted to university, you better look for other directions, and it really hit me hard. So I shaved my head and like locked myself in a room for 6 months studying, and I managed to get in a very good school in civil engineering because my dad was a civil engineer, very successful, so I kind of followed him. And I entered university, I studied civil engineering, and it was super, again, boring, doing all mathematics of forces through structures, which nowadays softwares do with one button, you hit, everything is designed, but we had to study all the forces that go through structures and hydraulics and a lot of mathematics that nowadays with AI, you'd hit a button, it does it all. Then I got dissatisfied again. And then after the education, I was like, no, I want a new route. I went to the US to do my graduate studies. And there I came across a very interesting topic of smart buildings. So how many of you here have thought about why when you go inside a building and you feel really hot or really cold, but then you have no way of getting the required comfort from the building? Probably here in Singapore when you go inside somewhere that's really cold or really hot, right? So the way we run buildings nowadays is almost the same as we have been doing it for past 50 years, a thermostats on a wall, right? And then in smart buildings domain, what we are looking at is to make buildings reactive to the occupants, building new sensors, new actuators, new ways that buildings can care for the occupants inside, and currently doesn't exist. So that really excited me. So I pursued a PhD in smart building, human-centric smart systems, which try to make environments more adaptive to its occupants. And then I wanted to do the research, and then I realized with a background in civil engineering, I can do nothing. I know how to design structures, but nothing about AI or smart buildings and sensors. And then during my first exam in my PhD, they kind of gave me a conditional pass, not pass, because I didn't know how to do the research I want to do. So I ended up basically taking any courses in engineering school, from computer science, industrial systems engineering, in bioengineering. I ended up getting 3 master's degrees in computer science, in industrial systems engineering, in civil engineering. I took about 30 graduate courses. I think you can imagine how difficult it could be. And then I managed to do my research. So basically, if AI existed at the time, I probably didn't need to take 3 masters. I could just tap into AI. But at the time, I need to learn everything. And then I went on to do my postdoc at UC Berkeley. I wanted to know those people who really define our field, how they think, what type of humans they are. So a little bit of exposure to them. And I realized they are also normal humans, nothing different than everyone else. It's just that they are in institutions that have more resources, more talented people go there, and more talented people together build a lot of cooler things than other places. So that was a very informing experience for me as well. And then a lot of things happened. I ended up here on a presidential young professorship position at NUS. And as you know, NUS being one of the top engineering schools in Singapore and also around the world, many, many resources. I have a nice team together now, interdisciplinary, very, very talented people. And what we are trying to do is really building systems that can be human-centric, understand what you want without asking you. For example, for the problem I told you about feeling hot or cold, what we are doing is we are taking infrared imagery of your face, and basically if you pay attention, when you feel cold, usually your nose or your ear kind of feel cold. It's because your blood constrict, your heart, basically your blood vessels constrict in some areas to preserve heat. And if you have a thermal imaging system, you can see those changes. And then you can build smart systems around it. We're also doing heart rate monitoring. So every time your heart beats, the amount of blood that goes to your skin changes. And if your eye was sharp enough, you'd be able to see that. So collecting biological signals non-intrusively using vision systems. And then we are building also robotic systems. Right now, the ceiling is too high here, but usually in normal spaces, the ceiling is not that high. So we're building robotic fans in the ceiling that can directly target the air toward people who want cooling. And for the rest, we push up the temperature set points in the room, which saves a lot of energy. A lot of these, again, super novel technologies that aren't still out there yet, but we're trying to define how the future of smart building is going to be. We are also working on novel technologies for facade, how to prevent the heat from coming into the buildings, because cooling in Singapore and in general air conditioning consume more than half of the energy in buildings, and that's about 20% of the total global energy consumption. And not many people talk about those things, but big problems that we need to resolve. Some of the other things we are working on is on dynamic electricity market. The real electricity market, which a lot of you pay your electricity bill, but you don't know, is that the price of electricity is not really a fixed price, it's dynamic. And if you participate in the dynamic electricity market, you can save a lot of money because the price is most of the time cheap. Then SP Group or other what we call aggregator and utility providers sit in between the real electricity market and you guys and make a lot of money by preventing those peak prices that you may experience and essentially make a lot of money. But we are trying to then democratize the electricity market to the end users through dashboards, so then you can participate in those electricity markets. Again, a lot of things about how humans interact with buildings, how you use systems, and a lot of AI going into it, a lot of sensors. Very different than civil engineering, but it's still within built environment. Again, when you're thinking about your future career, a lot of things can change over time. You kind of shift in between a lot of things, but what matters the most is the resiliency and the ability to navigate through difficult situations. I think if education system could teach that even better, it would be even best. So that's all for me.
Great to see so many kids here. Thank you for having me. My name is Ashish Kumar. I was listening to the panelists and it was like a flashback. I was thinking what I was doing when I was a child. I see so many kids here. I want to tell you, there's one thing which makes us different from machines. We can learn, we can imagine, we can improvise, right? That line is getting blurred with the help of AI and generative AI and a lot of other things which we'll talk about today. So I work for a technology company, and basically my job is to speak to different verticals, whether it is healthcare, finance, cybersecurity, even retail, education. And we're helping these organizations to build solutions which will change the human mankind, how they behave, how they operate, make their life easier, right? So I talk about technology right from how you use things in your home all the way to industries, right? And how do we stitch this together? And how is AI changing this, right? But maybe a little bit of background about me. I come from India. My education has been across India. I've studied grade 1 to 12 in 10 different schools. So I've learned different cultures. I've learned different languages, food,
And that has made me very adaptable. I wanted to become a doctor because my mom wanted me to. And then I realized at a later stage that maybe this is not my field. Then I switched to engineering. I finished my engineering. I did my master's. I worked for so many different companies so far. This is what I'm telling you, that there's a lot of learning which you have to do all your life. Now, can we start always and go back in time and do that? Or can we use which is already done by somebody else for us? AI is basically something which is done for you now. Start from there. Don't go back and do the same things again. Leverage, adopt, embrace AI, right? So where are we today in the stage of AI? If I have to really give you a very simple example, especially for kids, I call it, it's a popcorn moment for human mankind, human development. What is that? You know popcorn, right? You watch a movie, you go buy popcorns. Now, imagine you're going for a small birthday party at home, you invite your friends over your movie, some of you go and start making popcorn in the kitchen. What you do, you take a kettle, you put some oil in it, put some popcorn seeds in it, right? And you start heating it. Now, you ask a question to your friend, how much time will it take to pop? Out of 3, one of them says it will take 1 minute. What is he doing? He's doing a prediction. So humans can do a prediction, remember that, right? With the information they have. Is it right or wrong? That's a different thing. People wait for 1 minute, nothing pops. 1 minute, 30 seconds, nothing pops. Now, this is where people start doubting. 2 of them say, it's not going to pop. Last 2 minutes, nothing has happened. Another 2 minutes, nothing will happen. It's a linear prediction. They're trying to predict based on what they see. Is it right? No. This is where humans are different. Humans have the capability of predicting the future. This is where, if you use your curiosity to go and learn something just in time, open your mobile, check what temperature popcorn pops. It says 180 degrees. Now you know. Take a thermometer, you know it's 150 degrees, 151, 152. Now you know in the next 30 seconds it's going to pop. Now that is the time, just-in-time learning which you did, right? This is what humans can do, and that is what AI is going to help us do, right? So if you divide this AI, how it has evolved. I heard you talking about 1960s. He's right. 1960s is when we started talking about AI. And today, we are talking about AI again. What has changed? So there have been different waves of it. This wave is very, very important. I'll tell you why. Earlier waves were only because AI was just doing simple computing. It was doing simple calculations, making life easier for repetitive jobs, right? Could it think? Could it create something? No. Then, almost 2 to 2.5 years back, something really unique happened. This time, a computer was able to learn. We made a smart computer which could learn. You heard Jim talk about so many things he has done in his life. Imagine if I put all of that learning into a simple program, and I call it as a model. How many people will get benefited from it? That is the power of AI. I do not have to do the same thing what he did, right? I can learn from what he did by just using a model which he is going to create. So he's going to train that model, and that is what AI does, training a model. Okay? So the second wave which came was AI started learning. It was thrown billions and billions of data vectors. It could create a model, and that model can differentiate between a cat and a dog, an apple and an orange, and it can tell you the color. So it could see things and then create things for you. It could create a video, it could create an image, it could create audio. That is the phase where we are in right now. Today, we all know about ChatGPT, right? We all use it. That's a wave number 2, which is generative AI. Now, is it going to stop here? No. Healthcare. Doctors are being augmented by AI technology, robotics, right? You talk about manufacturing. Everything is being automated. So there's a lot of assistance which we are getting from AI right now. But now the game is going to change. The third wave is already here. It's knocking our doors. And we have to be ready for that. What is that? It's called agentic AI. In very simple terms, now AI will not only assist, it will become autonomous. It will become something which can make decisions, do tasks, and optimize on the go. Right? So we are heading towards that. Now for students, how you can, be ready for that. Number one, basics. You cannot go with your maths, physics, science, they have to be there. Those are the basic building blocks. But then you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have tools available, you have to embrace that, and you have to build your learning on top of that, right? So I think during the conversation, we'll discuss a lot about some of the use cases, and look forward to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashish. And my first question is to you only. So we hear a lot of news about cyber attacks and security concerns and everything. And I'm pretty sure that cyber security experts like you are using AI in your day-to-day activities and work and all. But so are the hackers. They are also using that technology to their benefit and all. So how is the entire landscape changing just for the interest of parents and students, somebody who wants to build a career in cybersecurity? How is AI impacting the entire landscape? And how do you see the overall job landscape in cybersecurity changing because of all these things?
That's a great question. So you're absolutely right. AI is actually a double-edged sword. And cybersecurity, unlike other industries, is deep technical, right? Because it's already been there for many, many years. It was information security, now it's cybersecurity. Now, if I talk about how AI impacts cybersecurity positively, there are numerous things. Number one is, in a typical organization or any country, you have a cyber security operations center. We call it SOC. The job of SOC is to basically analyze the data flowing through the networks. Every single communication happening over the network will be going through a certain check, right? And in that process, you have to find out unusual behaviors, some known threat vectors, these kind of things. Imagine, the data size today. We're talking about petabytes, exabytes of data every minute. How would a human SOC analyst do this? That is what was happening over the years. In last 8 to 10 years, things have changed. AI has been adopted severely in cybersecurity. Today, terabytes of data can be processed and detected, basically scanned in matter of minutes. So AI can do this because of the computation power it has. And it can detect things which are new. Earlier, this was a big gap. If you knew a malware, if you knew a threat, you will create an antidote for it. But if you don't know something created yesterday, how would you know? AI can actually go into zero-day attacks also, like something which has been built overnight, but because of the behavior change, AI can predict that. And most importantly, I think AI is able to give a faster response now. Earlier, it was based on human intelligence only. People had to take decisions. Now, AI has been empowered to make decisions and take certain steps to basically respond faster and detect and solve problems. So in a nutshell, I would say AI is drastically changing the whole cyber landscape from a positive side of it. No company today can say that they're not using AI. In fact, it has become a extended arm, right? But at the same time, I would say it's also having a dark side of it. The same AI is available for hackers. So if you want to know about it, there's a worm GPT. It's like Chat GPT. What does it do? You can go and ask for malware help. You can ask for, if you want to create certain phishing emails which look very real, you can create that. I'm not giving you ideas, just don't go there, but I'm just telling you that this is just a tip of the iceberg. There's a dark web out there. So AI can be used to create malwares which can avoid detection. So you have to stay one step ahead. And that's what we have to do positively with AI. There's a big threat of deepfake. A very good example is recently a CEO of a company sent out a mail to the entire finance team asking to process some orders. And the money was transferred, and later on it was realized that it was not the CIO or the CEO, it was somebody who was pretending to be a CEO. But the email looked so convincing because it used AI to ensure that the phishing engine cannot identify it, right? So going forward, it will become tougher and tougher to stop the adversaries. So, the only hope here is that if there are 4 people, in front of a lion, how do you survive? By not eaten up by the lion. Basically, you don't have to be the last one. You need to be faster than others. So be ahead, start using vulnerabilities, find out yourself what is wrong in my environment. Keep looking for loopholes within your environment and keep improving. So AI is helping both sides, as I said. Yeah. In future, I think AI will be the basic thing which will be required in any technology. Any technology. So it will be embedded. You don't have to ask for it. It will be already there. For future growth, I think people who know how to use AI will basically replace people who don't know AI, how to use AI, right? It's people to people. That's how it is.
Move on to the next question. Is there something interesting, some fun games, some activities, some coding exercises, or anything that students can do to explore cybersecurity? Anything that you would recommend for students who are interested in cybersecurity?
Yeah, definitely. So, see, number one thing is start imbibing the thought of cybersecurity in your minds from day one. You use a mobile, you use a laptop. How secure is your email today? How many of you have two-factor authentication set up on your Gmail? What if you, yeah, see, I see people raising hands, so people are aware. So if you lose your email today, which is happening very, very rapidly, you'll get emails that somebody is opening your email in Egypt or Cambodia, I don't know where. But basically, if you have a single password, it is going to be cracked today or tomorrow. The AI is using password cracking mechanisms.
What I meant was more in terms of exploring it as a field.
Okay, sorry. So, yeah, I mean, I think you should look at, number one, coding as a an early step into cybersecurity. See, Python is a great tool, but for kids to start Python at early age will be not the right thing to do. So look at Scratch programming, which is a very visual way of learning coding and logical expressions. Even the robotics is a great idea. There are a lot of courses available. Once you reach a certain stage, you should look at certain platforms which allow you to play around and learn how to ethically hack a system and how to protect it. Hack the Box is a web page. If you can make a note, Hack the Box. Then you have Try Hack Me. These are the websites generated just for simulating an environment where you can go and learn how to avoid a detection and find out what led to the attack. So these kind of things. It's very much meant for kids. On top of that, you can also learn certain coding platforms, and there are some clubs which you can join. Cyber Patriot is a great club in US where they do an annual competition. So early stages, it has to go slow, but by the time you reach your 12th standard, people in primary here, the jobs which exist today might not be there. There will be totally different jobs. So you have to gradually go to that ladder and be ready for that. You'll have postgraduate and graduate courses available. They're already available, by the way, for cybersecurity. So yeah, it's like a ladder.
Yeah. Thank you. Excellent advice. And I think anyone who is interested in cybersecurity should catch hold of Ashish once the panel discussion is over and explore more activities. So now moving on to the other panelist. As AI is impacting cybersecurity, I am pretty sure it's impacting your area as well. So let's take up healthcare, for example. So we see medicine professionals and healthcare professionals using AI, right, from X-ray analysis to a whole lot of other areas. So how is AI impacting your area, which is healthcare, and essentially what it entails for someone who wants to pursue a career in healthcare? So, and essentially then what should students do to explore? So similar questions.
Thank you. So interesting part. AI in healthcare is a very dangerous science, right? You might contradict, I might end up contradicting a lot of people here, and a lot of people might think, why am I saying what am I saying? Trust me, if something goes wrong, the patient will die on a table, right? Impacting of AI is giving data to the machine, end of the day, right? So first thing first is impact of AI is based on how the data has been given to the machines, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So clinical awareness. So if you don't know what data has been given to the system and what to expect, that is the biggest impact for any clinician or healthcare professionals, right? My biggest contention is having a lot of false positive cases, right? So for example, if you fill in a data and if the AI generates an outcome which according to the AI is supposed to have a pneumonia, for example, right? But that's not the case according to the doctor. So what we do is we sit with doctors, we sit with engineers, and we re-collaborate and recalibrate the system over and over again to make sure that we have the right data. That means first is you and I should have clinical awareness, point number one. Point number two is where the data is sitting and what is a workflow. This is point number 2 and 3. So so AI is not only in healthcare when you see about X-rays or MRIs, but how in a hospital the workflow is. Like I just explained about the time taken for a stroke case for a patient to save life. That's a workflow. And then there's a diagnostic AI, right? We are not talking about agentic AIs and other things. Understand the workflows, basic or fundamental explanation. So for students over here who are very interested to understand AI, take a step back and understand where the data is coming from, what is the data, what is the workflow, how aware I am about the clinical data, and how aware I am of the workflows within the ecosystem. And the last part is tools and informations, collaboration with technical teams, right? So you can have technical teams collaborated to understand how the data are being governed, data securities, data privacy, and to do more on data analysis. So that is where AI is impacting healthcare in many, many ways. So that's about it. And since we are talking about AI, how many of us know what was before AI? Anyone? And AI did exist 20, 30 years ago as well. It's just a different name, right? Before AI, we had Excel sheets, right? We have talking about BI. What is BI? Business intelligence. And all this data which you copied and pasted it was in Excel formats or in big data house. And we used to call it big data, right? Anyone heard about big data? I'm sure you must have heard about big data. Yes, there are friends and colleagues over here who talk about big data, BI, AI. So what is coming next is quantum computing, right? I'm sure the next generation of people coming on the stage will be talking about quantum computing. So if you are talking about healthcare, that is where things
What
are.
should students do to explore healthcare?
Explore healthcare, understand your clinical workflows best. Go to your core values to make sure that you learn the basics of clinical values. Only when you understand what the data looks like, you will expect as very specific things. So what is AI is nothing but running a mundane task over and over again so that someone can do the task at the repetitive state as simple as possible. So only when you understand what the healthcare clinical awareness is and the workflow, things will become much more simpler for them.
So let's say there are students who might end up working in healthcare. So
Right.
what they can do to learn something about healthcare right now?
Right.
So any activities or anything that you would suggest?
Okay. So if the students really want to understand healthcare or AI, we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Go to the hospital and understand how the patient workflow is all about.
Yes.
Right? Simple. Just stand there in one place and see how the patient workflow is about, right from the billing, right from patient registration to billing and to do that. You know, there's a concept of Six Sigma Black Belt. We all have heard about it. Six Sigma Black Belt, Green Sigma Black Belt. They are efficiencies parameters based out of it. They are concepts where people have taken this as a case study and built AI models out of it. So for example, a regular CT scan done in the hospital and the waiting time for the patient, do you know how many CT scans are done per day in any hospital? Let's take SGH. Everyone knows SGH, Singapore General Hospital, right? So if you go to any hospitals in India, let's say that, right? I don't want to technically
We need to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah. So if you go to any hospitals, the regular CT scan done on a human, right? Normally they do like 30 scans a day, right? 30 to 40 scans a day. Now what I meant by this is, how can we improve the efficiency so that the machines can work more and we can serve more outcomes? So if you end up doing 60 scans a day, is that not a beneficial outcomes? But who will do that analysis? That is AI. But who will give the inputs to AI? That means how much is the workflow coming into play so that it can give the right outcomes. So that is all about AI, right?
So essentially understanding the workflows in a healthcare
Scenarios,
situation.
yeah.
So probably a visit to a hospital or an internship there
Yeah.
is something that will give them a clear-cut overview of how the
Absolutely.
entire workflow works. So the key thing if you are looking forward to explore healthcare is to understand the workflow first. So So if you're a student, probably go to a hospital, seek internships, and that is where I think you will be able to understand the workflows, which will be important for you to understand whether you really like that work or not.
Yeah.
And then build up on that.
Yeah. So that's workflow point of view. Second is diagnostic point of view. So if any students or parents are talking about medical as a avenue, then you have to understand your clinical parameters very well in the play. Right.
Thank you. So moving on to robotics. So what would you recommend? Let's say there is a student, there is a grade 8, 9, 10 student, and with all the mix of AI and everything, we have talked about AI a lot. So with all the AI and everything into the mix, what would you recommend that they should start exploring if they're looking forward to a career in embedded systems or robotics? What is it that they should do right now?
All right. I would say the robotics, computing, AI, embedded systems, all these terms that you mentioned, right? It's changing very fast. So the biggest thing that you should have is the willingness to embrace change. So what you learn for today may not be exactly what you may need 10 years later, right? If you're looking into like a specific technology or a specific programming language or a specific tool, right? So if I give an example, so when I started programming maybe probably in school, right? When in school I did have an exposure to computers. So that time, the programming languages that were taught to me were Logo, Basic, right? So the Basic, I don't know if anybody of you have even heard of a language called Basic. But it gave me fundamentals of how to write a program, how to make a decision, how to make a loop, right? So then it could evolve to C, C++, Python. There are languages like Julia. I don't know how many of you have heard of Julia. There are languages like Go. There are so many programming languages out there, right? So the important thing is you have the basic skill. Can you think logically? Can you think in terms of data, as many of you mentioned? Can you understand how the physical world works, how the world works? Be it a company, be it a hospital, be it a factory, be it a home, be it a car, be it a service station, be it an aeroplane or a ship, right? So how does the physical world work? How can you break it down into steps? How can you think of how these steps are related? What is the input? What is the output? What are the process? What are the sequences? What are the dependencies? How can you think like that? Then how can you map it to something that is automatable or that can be transformed into what I call as a computing problem, right? So it's that essential skill of thinking logically, logical thinking, logical reasoning, right? So that is what you need to have. That has been always the basic, right? Whether it's 60 years ago when AI started, actually, the term AI was invented in the 1950s, so right, to be specific, and popularized 1950s and 60s. So there is one of the founding fathers of AI. I mean, there are a few founding fathers, right? One of them is Professor Herb Simon. He was an economics professor. I think he won the Nobel Prize for economics in 1970s, right? So he famously said, I think this quote is in 1965, right? Machines, that time he used the word machine. Machines in 20 years, so he's saying this in 1965, in 20 years, machines will be capable of doing every task that humans can do. Then he's saying 1985, machines should be able to do what humans can do, right? Now we are in 2025. What can machines do? What can humans do? Humans can do a lot more than machines, whatever AI we are talking about, right? But what does not change is the need for logical thinking, logical reasoning, and how can you look at the physical world and apply it into whatever that you're doing, right? So specifically on robotics, the fundamentals needed are, more than just logical thinking, is basic mathematics is very important. In mathematics, there are a few aspects. Usually these are beyond high school level, secondary school, more into higher level. These are engineering mathematics like linear algebra, calculus, statistics. You do get the fundamentals in your, I would say from the primary school onwards, right? So this is very important. So linear algebra, calculus, statistics, probability, all these are very important. And these are also the building blocks for AI. Then for robotics, traditionally it's been a mechanical engineering kind of discipline. So, so people who do mechanical engineering generally go for robotics. But now things have changed. People are doing computer science are going to robotics. People are doing electronics or electrical going to robotics. People are going to mechanical as well, right? So it's going forward, a lot of cross-functional skills are needed. So you cannot pick a single skill or pick on a few things alone. You need to be equally good at a few different skills, be it mathematics, be it talking, be it doing your work diligently within a deadline. Are you able to work as a team? So all those basic soft skills as well as the basic cognitive skills are needed. And then what I would recommend anyone who want to go further into this is try to do hands-on. Whatever it is, try to make things yourself. And that is a skill that will help you even when you have the best AI, right? So today, the best AI systems in the world are still generated, written by humans, right? They have algorithms crafted together. So there is a concept, those who are interested can read about it. There's a concept called mixture of experts. So this mixture of experts is basically one of the principles that is used in some of the successful AIs, be it ChatGPT or DeepSeek and so on, right? So they combine different experts. Based on the question you ask, it invokes the right expert. So as an analogy, within your head, within yourself, you should have expertise in a few different areas of your interest. And based on the need, you should be able to invoke that at the right time, right? So it's very crucial to have those skills. And how can you make decisions under uncertainty? Things are going to change. Things are going to be uncertain. How can you make that decision? Now, more and more the trend is how to automate that decision making. So as said, right, for safety critical systems, be it in healthcare, be it in other safety critical systems, letting an AI make a decision is very, very difficult. I mean, that at this point, all the safety critical systems have a human in the loop to make that decision, right? To be like a safety. So even 10 years later, I believe, you can be that human expert who has to make that decision. And AI can give many recommendations based on all the data that it can work with, all the models that it can learn from, but ultimately a human has to make a decision that even 10 years later. Otherwise, things can go catastrophic.
Thanks, Jim. So we are a little pressed on time, so we'll quickly move to our other panelists. And we have heard from all of them about how AI is changing and what needs to be done. And since you are from academia, what is it that students should definitely do in case if they are looking forward to engineering and design as something that they want to pursue? What is it specifically focusing on the activities that they can do right now so that to explore this field and build their interest?
Maybe I answered in a different way. So okay. I recently attended a conference on education and how AI is revolutionizing this whole field. And the common understanding eventually in the conference was AI, we as educators are becoming more of a motivator. We don't need to go and educate people on how to do the math and the tedious tasks anymore. It's more about making them interested in that topic, whether it's heat transfer or whether it's machine learning or anything. How can we get them excited about the topic is now a lot more important than teaching them the exact math anymore. So now kind of trying to push it down to students is find what you're excited the most about, because if you're excited about it, then you will get interested to learn more about it. But at the same time, being at a very young age, it's really hard to find what you're excited about, but maybe there needs to be a starting point of being interested in something that eventually gets you interested in something down the line. And there is always flexibility with the new education system that is being built. For example, in our engineering school, nowadays, people that come in a general admission. They can choose along the way whether they want to do electrical engineering, they want to do mechanical engineering. There's a lot of flexibility, and a lot of people may shift down the line. As long as you keep being interested in something, find something that you're interested in, and be passionate about it, eventually you will find those niche areas that you fit the best, and then you become a contributor to the world as a whole. But as long as you're interested in that, not just being forced to. So find something that you're interested in.
Great, great, thank you. So with this, we come to the end of the panel discussion. But the key takeaway is very simple. Pick up whatever you like, start exploring, start building projects, start doing the activities. And some really simple activities that were highlighted by Ashish, Jim, Shailendra, everything. So understand, go and explore. And this is not limited to these 3-4 career options, but it can be extended to almost all career options that you might end up building your career in. So with this, we end up the panel discussion. Thank you all for being the part of this panel. And I hope there is some tangible takeaway for all of you. Now what we will do, we will move on to specific booths where I would strongly recommend go speak to the experts, ask about the skills that are required to excel in that particular career space. More importantly, what are the activities that you can do, how you can explore that particular career options, and almost all the questions that come to your mind when you think about that career. So let's say when I talk about robotics, so Jim really pointed out the math that you need to study, the subjects that you need to explore, the activities that you can do, the competitions that you can participate in. So ask as many questions as possible, make the most of it. So with this, we end the panel discussion, and thank you for being a patient audience.
Thank you to all our panelists for that enriching and engaging discussion. Let's give them a huge round of applause. Now, I would like to request Ms. Seema Kaushik to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. So what a truly enriching morning it's been. And now we will be opening the career booths. I would just like to thank everyone for encouraging us for this first inaugural CareerExplore Fair. Thank you to a big round of applause to all our parent volunteers who are here today representing the booths and those who were there in the panel. And this was the idea which was guided by our head of career counseling and guidance, Mr. Anubhav Seth, and our principal, Ms. Melissa Maria. And this idea came to life today. So this may be not the perfect one this year, but we would like to have feedback from you and would like to improvise this further next year. And we would like to have more parents participating in this initiative and have more career booths next year. So thank you so much. I would like to thank our tech team, our events team, and our Marcom team for supporting us in this, organizing this event. And I would also like to thank our the photographers, the student volunteers, those who are here today to organize this. Thank you to all our coordinators and the academic faculty, those who are here. So now let's open the career booths for everyone to go and explore. Thank you so much.